I'm Rocco Avellini, known as the Body Shop Cop. RecCheck started the diminished value revolution back in 1991, so we are definitely the oldest diminished value software in the country. I'm known around the country as one of the leaders, if not the leader, in the diminished value revolution. I've been on several TV shows, 2020, NBC Nightly News. I've also addressed the California Senate back in 1997. We do inspections on vehicles for consumers who have issues with collision problems, mechanical problems, and also when they purchase a vehicle and it's been damaged and not disclosed to them. I find that 90% of the vehicles that I look at over the course of the years are unsafe to drive and put back on the road. I come from my corporate headquarters in Vegas to California approximately 2 or 3 times a month, depending on the volume of work that I have. We are on our way now to an appointment for a client that has purchased a Porsche in Southern California as a brand new vehicle. About a week after, 2 weeks after the purchase of the vehicle, he found that there were some problems with the operation of the window. Brought it to another Porsche dealership and found out that the vehicle was involved in a major collision. The client was outraged, so he went to the selling dealership to try to resolve the problem. The selling dealership turned around and told him to go pound sand because he was the one that caused the accident. The client was outraged at that point and had no other option but to go and see an attorney. We had the appointment sent to us because the attorney had done work with us in the past, and we are now on our way to do this inspection. So did you ever bring it back to the person, the dealership that sold you the car, to tell them about the accident?
The first time I went over there, I talked to them. And then they said, oh, there's an accident in your car, and we're not responsible for it. I said, hey, I never had any accident on the car, and I bought this brand new.
When you were at the dealership, there was really no need for you to ask them if the car was ever involved in an accident because you were under the impression that it was a brand new car.
I picked them for 2 weeks, and they never responds to me. They even called the police to drive me away. And they said, never come back to the dealership. Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is that the dealership that sold you the car had an estimate for the repairs and they sold it to you as a new car anyway.
It's a brand new car anyway.
Wow.
And also
that's scary stuff right there.
You know,
so you can see here there's a difference here in the paint color. This portion of the car is darker than this. The inner trim panel is not fitting properly.
There's a missing part here.
The trim panel is not secured properly. You can see the misalignment of the door here, which is nuts. These are all telltale signs that this car is involved in an accident, not Porsche quality. This is a portion of the identification process to the car. We need to identify all these issues so they can be included in the report. What we're doing here is that we have what's called a product thickness meter or a mil gauge, and basically what we're doing is we're measuring the amount of product from that probe to the metal on the car, and that product will consist of paints, primers, corrosion protections, things of that nature. When a vehicle is produced at the factory, we look at anywhere between 4 to 6 mils of product on a car. We're up to 8.9, so we're up to 9 mils. So we know now that this side of the car had damage to it. We've gone up another mil, 9.8. We're at 12 here now. Let's see what we got on the quarter panel. There we go. We're up at 12 now at the quarter panel. We're at 12.8 here. Accident could have happened on a test drive. We see a lot of times when the car comes off the trailer and there's what's called transportation damage. A lot jockey could have done this to the car, not disclosed it.
The value of the car diminished. When I bring it to them, it should be $75,000. But they offered me $35,000. I paid 100 something.
100 something thousand, huh?
Yes, and I saved that money for 10 years to buy this because this is my dream car.
So your dream car went down the drain, huh?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I run across these cases probably on a weekly basis. But basically what it is, it's a non-disclosure issue from the dealership for not disclosing any of the prior damage on the car. So it happens quite often. All right, we wrapped up that inspection, our second inspection of the day. We're heading to Tustin now to look at a 2011 Volvo for diminished value assessment. This woman had an accident with her car and is looking to recover money for loss of value.
See the scar on my face? They left me for dead, so they nicknamed me Lucky. Don't yeah me either. You always yeah me. Just keep stirring the sauce. Listen, I gotta go. I got some customers coming. I love you. Ciao.
I'm Rocco Avellini from Wreck Check Car Scan. How you doing?
Good to meet you.
Good. You remember Judy Simon?
I know Judy very well. We did a phenomenal job on her car.
I know. You tried, but you didn't get it fixed. So she called me complaining that you had some problems, and I just want to take the opportunity to show you what's wrong with the car. First thing I want to do is I want to show you that instead of replacing the part, you put Bondo on it.
Hey pal, we do a lot of cars here. That's a damn good work right there. What are you gonna show
I
me?
understand, but understand that you got paid to replace this, but the meter is going to show you that there's Bondo on the car, which means you repaired it instead of replacing it. See what the reading is there? It's almost at 12. That tells me that there's Bondo on the car. If you would have replaced this, it would have been a 4 or 5. So that means you repaired it
I
instead
see
of
that. What else
replacing.
do you have? What else do you
I'll
have?
see over here. The paint doesn't match.
What do you mean the paint
It
doesn't match?
It's a couple of shades off. Can't you see that? That's the first thing that she identified when she looked at the car. The paint didn't match. The next thing I'm going to show you is that you can see all these bolts are out of alignment, which tells me that the frame on the car is bent.
What do you mean? What bolt? I don't see nothing.
See them?
What?
They're all out of alignment. That
Out of
bolt, that bolt,
alignment.
and
Out
that
of
bolt.
alignment.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
They don't match up.
You know what? You know what? Listen, I want to tell you what. Get the out of here. Get the out of here.
Well,
Get out.
you got to understand.
What?
Sonny, you gotta
Understand what?
understand.
What
I'm
am
here
I
to
gonna
help
do?
you.
You know what? You put her up to this here.
I
is
did.
what you did.
I did.
Yeah,
we
did.
just offer a service to
You
the
want to sue me?
consumer.
Talk to my lawyer. Get the
Okay.
out of
We're
here.
going
Go
to
on.
sue you.
Go on. Sue me. Get
Okay.
the out of here.
Well, Judy, unfortunately, this happens way too many times. This is the kind of things that happen in the collision industry that make this industry bad, putting people in cars like this. Look at them. Look at them carrying on. Still carrying on. They won't take responsibility.
Now, watch well where you're backing. Back right into that fence. Get out of here. Go fix it yourself.
What an idiot.
You'd be amazed at the things that I have seen. Nothing surprises me anymore. I pretty much specialize in consumer auto fraud, which usually entails something not being disclosed to a consumer when they buy a car. I would like to tell you that it's the exception rather than the rule. Unfortunately, especially in this particular town, it's the rule rather than the exception. 80% of the time, there is rampant auto fraud in one way or the other. The most important safety feature of any car is its frame and unibody construction. That's what a death trap is. When you have a compromised frame like that, and the dealer knows it or should know about it, and they don't say a thing about it. When you see these types of situations, you need the right expert at the end of the day to be able to look at that car and assess that car, take high-resolution pictures, get under that car and do a full report. Because these cases that I deal with generally rise and fall on what the condition of the car was in at the time of sale, and the only way to prove that is through an expert. As far as Mr. Avellini is concerned, I've known him for approximately 5 years in a professional capacity. I will tell you, his thoroughness, his knowledge, his evaluation, I've learned a lot from Mr. Avellini. So much now that to the point where I start looking at cases, and he's taught me so much that I see the things that he tells me to look for sometimes. At the end of the day, there is no one else that I have met who has the kind of experience, the type of professionalism like Mr. Avellini. And that's why I use him. It's no secret. The only expert that I've ever retained in these types of cases is Mr. Avellini. And there's a reason for that, because I believe that he is the best at what he does.
I was actually born in New York City. Hell's Kitchen, lived on 35th and 9th Avenue till I was about 10 years old. My dad bought a Carvel store in Brooklyn. My dad bought a house right across the street from the Carvel store. Well, growing up in Brooklyn was great. I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, I grew up in a predominantly Italian neighborhood. All the families knew each other on the block. Everybody watched out for each other. Drive-ins and dragging and racing, and that's how I got interested in cars. Hot rodding and drag racing, and just like to be in the automotive industry around cars. I started sweeping floors at a shop, at a local mechanical shop, and at that part I learned how to work on cars, on engines of cars, transmissions, starters, alternators. Now, you have to understand this was back in the 60s, so the cars weren't as sophisticated as they are now. Ran the shop, owned the shop, went to work for insurance companies, then got transferred out to California, where I opened up my shop, Rocco's Sports Car Emporium. I did mostly restorations of vehicles, high-end Lamborghinis and muscle cars. And me and my wife, Barbara, worked that till 2002 when we sold it and moved to Las Vegas.
I was working in the marketing side of my company, and I had the opportunity to meet Rocco when he was working for the Hertz Corporation. We used to take him out for dinner.
Every time I went to California, so I had a free dinner every time I came here. So she wined and dined me.
Okay.
And then she married me.
I never met anybody like Rocco in my entire life until we met working in the insurance industry, and he's a pretty amazing guy. Pretty amazing guy, but I think Rocco kind of took it from a low level up to just a top of the line type of business.
I mean, in the beginning, we were, seeing maybe, 2 or 3 people a month. Now we're seeing 20 or 30 people a month.
Incredible. He's got a great passion for the consumer, and his automotive background is just a great plus.
When I worked for the Hertz Corporation, I traveled a lot, probably 75 to 80% of the time, and when I did, I made sure that I brought material to read about the insurance industry, case law, took books from the corporate library, so I was able to understand insurance more so than the average person that was working in the body shop. It's become very useful for my work as what we call a post-repair inspector and a automotive consultant, because as I say, and as some and most of my clients tell me, that I knew what was going to happen and what they were going to say before they said it. What are the problems that you're finding dealing with insurance companies, parts, aftermarket parts, imitation parts, things like that?
Imitation parts are now every company is pushing for them, aftermarket parts, because they're cheaper.
Do insurance companies force your clients to go to other shops?
Yes, they do. They guide them where to go. Customer will not willing to pay the extra money. They expect the insurance to pay, and insurance not going to pay.
So they're really looking for the bottom line. They're not actually looking out for the customer. They're looking out for the profit of their company. Do you ever find that when some of these cars that have come back that are improperly repaired, there's safety problems with the car?
Some of them, yes.
Thank you very much for spending some time with us today. Well, we had an opportunity to talk to a shop owner in Southern California who expressed his interest and his disappointment in the way the industry is being run, the influence of the insurance company, the fact that we have improper repairs being done to cars, putting people's lives in danger, and it's all because of the bottom line trying to save money to get cars back out on the road. I feel that if this doesn't stop in the very near future, that there's going to be fatalities because of these improper repairs and rushing these cars back to the streets. This has got to stop in the very near future.
We will be the big guys here with the tools and state of the art and the way we repair cars, and mainly we do the high ends like Walters, Range Rovers, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and in these days you do need to be zero tolerance when straighten the frames or do that kind of job on them. I really moved from Beverly Hills to here to raise the bar for this industry and to try to do the right things the way it should be done and influence others as well. This is the reception where we greet and receive our clients, and we help them out. Over here was a very, very clean environment. Everybody loved their cars here more than any city I ever seen. They want their cars really done right, and they are very, very, very picky more than any other state. Of course, Beverly Hills too, but I could say here the latest 5, 6 years, people really love their cars. They want their car to be done right.
Today we were in the downtown LA courthouse, and we were actually in a non-disclosure dealer fraud case where a consumer purchased a vehicle that was involved in a rollover collision. My court experiences on a yearly basis are probably around 8 to 10 court cases a year.
People usually come to me because they've learned either because the car broke down or they tried to sell the car, trade it in. They learned the car they bought was a wreck. And that's when I come to someone like Rocco to tell me the truth of what happened. We have to prove our case up against the car dealer to win against the bank. So Rocco's here to testify that this car was in a bad accident. Judge renders a verdict, and we go out and try and collect our money.
The revenue generated by my company is done in a few ways. First of all, it's obviously the diminished value assessments that we do. Secondly, I own the leading software in America for establishing and evaluating diminished value. Thirdly, we do a lot of expert witnessing. I also look at vehicles that have been sold to clients that have accidents and that have not been disclosed to the client. They were here to inspect the 2011 Mercedes-Benz for diminished value and to make sure that the car is repaired properly. And all we got to do is find the apartment where he lives.
I was on the freeway. It was about 55, 60, 65 kind of medium traffic, and a guy had kind of gone from the carpool lane and cut in front of me. And I heard screeching from the back, and there was a guy screeching on his brakes and hit me pretty solidly. His car was pretty much totaled. It went right under my car. My back end was pretty goodly smashed, pretty smashed. It took about a little over 2 months to fix. Like I mentioned, about 23 grand of repairs. So they told me, basically I brought the car in, they told me, you know, you are entitled to diminished value. My first question was, you know, what the hell is that? Well, what Rocco had mentioned was, he had explained some of the things that I'm fairly entitled to, so I'm seeking his advice and expertise in terms of diminished value, how to calculate the diminished value, deal with the insurance companies. Again, something that I pretty much have no idea about, would be lost without his help.
Diminished value or the loss of value to this car is going to be a lot. It's going to be in the $20,000-$25,000 range. The diminished value is owed no matter the value of the car. And whether it's a $150,000 car or $20,000 car, it really doesn't matter. Obviously, the insurance companies are not in the business of giving money away, no matter what you hear on the media. Our services are designed to assist the consumer through the process of recovering their diminished value. We found that over the years that the consumer is extremely uneducated about their ability to be made whole and their rights to be made whole. So that's what our services are designed to do. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to begin what we call our diminished value assessment. We're going to go through the vehicle to make sure that the car was repaired properly, all the items that were on the estimate of record were addressed and done properly. We will be researching dealerships, we will be researching at auctions. They will give us a price on how much the vehicle is worth after the accident, and we will also search the dealers, auto traders, the internet to establish a price prior to the accident. All the fit and finish is fine, all the gaps are fine. When you close the trunk, it closes nice and smoothly, opens nice and smoothly. Because there was substantial amount of damage to the underside of this car and structural and frame components, what we're going to do now is get underneath the car to make sure that those structural components are intact and safe. Very nice repair.
Rocco's definitely helped make the experience a more positive one, and in terms of all the legal stuff or the insurance companies or what to do here or what to do there, it's been nice to have somebody kind of hold my hand, because obviously again I'd be lost without without the advice and the support and the knowledge that he has.
That was a success. I inspected a vehicle today that was repaired properly, and we're going to be able to help the consumer collect diminished value on their vehicle and get them made whole. It's typically a bad repair that I see, so when I see a quality repair, I'm excited. So we've accomplished something today. All right, let's see what this has to offer. Doesn't look like we're having any phone luck today. How does a major dealership? not answer a phone. Typically when we get these types of phone calls, people are extremely upset because they just purchased the car and you know, somewhere down the line finding out that the car was involved in an accident. In this case, we're dealing with a Porsche. This car is probably worth $130,000 or $140,000. So you can imagine, you know, spending that kind of money on a car and then finding out the car was involved in an accident. Hello, this is Rocco. How may I help you? Hello, Mr. How you doing today? Your attorney told you to call us for a vehicle inspection, okay? Can you tell me a little bit about what happened? They sold it to you and it was damaged and they did not disclose that to you. Is that correct? Okay. And I understand you're upset and I understand that it's an expensive car, but you just need to not get frustrated and we'll come out and look at the vehicle. Okay, that would be fine. So we'll see you in Wednesday next week. We'll do an on-site inspection at your home. And thanks for calling. We'll see you next week. It's amazing how these insurance companies will send a representative out to go look at a car and downright lie and misrepresent what actually happened in the discussion. Okay. Looks like we're done here for the day. Time to pack it in and go home. Another day tomorrow. This is Rocco from Wreck Check Car Skin. You called my office before. Is this Mark? Diminished value and loss of use, absolutely.
Thank you.
What? Okay. How long ago did the accident happen? How far away from the completion of the repairs are you?
They just finally decided to issue a check.
You're not driving it?
I am.
Really? With $20,000 worth of damage, huh?
That's kind of the same question I had.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a first.